Hi, I'm Deborah, and welcome back to Love It or Hate It, just rate it, and rate it in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and bang the bell for notifications, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so today we'll be discussing the movie Laundromat, which is airing on Netflix. And I'd like you to keep in mind this is a true story. It happened back in 2015, and the movie is all about money. Netflix just won a court ruling because the two attorneys that were involved in the movie, they were fighting Netflix because they did not want the movie released. They did not want it aired. They didn't want anybody to know about it because, I'm sure they're not the only two attorneys in the world that have struck this pot of gold. Okay, so let's get right into it. So you have Antonio Banderas and you have Gary Oldman. They're the two that are portraying the two attorneys. And they want you to think of it as a fairy tale. And it's a fairy tale that came true. And then you have Meryl Streep, you have Jeffrey Wright, and then we even get to see a few minutes of Sharon Stone, which we haven't seen her in a while. Okay, so you have Meryl Streep and her husband. They've been married for 40 years, and they are celebrating their 40th anniversary. So they're going to where they had their honeymoon when they first got married. So to get over to it, and I think it was in Niagara Falls, but to get over there, they had to take this ferry. It's called like a cruise line, but it looked like a ferry because it only held like about maybe 50 people. So anyway, they brought another couple with them. And they're on the ferry and they're going over to Niagara Falls. And so you have the director who's driving the boat, and he's telling you, to your left you have this, to your right you have that. And then he looks over and he sees a huge wave coming. And this wave comes and it turns the boat over. So when it turns this boat over, say out of the 50 people, 21 people lost their lives. Okay, so you go over to Meryl Streep's husband's funeral, and they were saying that he was a upstanding citizen. He took care of his wife, his children, he paid his taxes. He did all the right things that so many of us do every day in life. And, he even helped his neighbors shovel snow. He stopped at the red lights when nobody was looking. He led a pretty decent life. And his wife, Meryl Streep, she wants somebody to be held accountable for this because her husband's life was taken and somebody has to answer for it. Okay, and then we have the cruise company or the ferry boat company, and this was also a family business, and they were an upstanding family. They did everything that they were supposed to do, and they had this family business where they had the little boats that took people out on the water, and they had a restaurant, and they were, slowly building their business. And of course, they had the insurance on their boats. So when the boat turned over, the other couple that came along with Meryl Streep and her husband, the wife was killed also. So it was Meryl Streep and her husband, and they are trying to get justice for their loved ones. Okay, so Meryl Streep goes to see an attorney, and the attorney is looking at the case, and he says, it looks like you'll probably get about 7 figures out of this. And so she's, okay, very good. So the family that has the business, they're looking into it, because they have to file a claim because these people have to be paid for what happened to their loved ones. So the son-in-law or the son, he's telling the dad that the insurance company sent them a letter and it's saying that their insurance wasn't any good. It had expired. So the father's thinking, well, you let it lapse? And he said, well, first, we were building on, we're adding the restaurant and we're buying another boat at the same time. So I went for another insurance company that was less expensive, while we have these expenses of expanding the business. And so I bought one company, that company sold to another company, and that one sold to another company. And now this company is saying that the accident even happened after the insurance policy expired. So, excuse me, the dad is saying, so you let it lapse? He goes, of course I didn't let it lapse. It's not true. This is not true. So he said, I feel so bad because these families, I keep seeing them in my dreams, bodies floating up on the water. So this son is feeling terrible about this, and they know they were paying their insurance. They need to compensate the people. So he said, we'll compensate them some kind of way because I feel really bad about this event. This is tragic that happened. So Meryl Streep goes back to her attorney because it's time for her to get paid now. And throughout the movie, Antonio Banderas and Gary Oldman, they're here and there, they're narrating it. And, they're throwing their 2 cents in, a little funny sometimes. But they're kind of letting you know what's happening with these attorneys, because these attorneys set up these businesses for the super rich, because this is where they hide their money. They hide it overseas, like Panama, West Indies. This is where they're hiding the money. So anyway, Meryl Streep goes to get her money because it's time for her to get paid. So when she goes, the attorney says, I'm so sorry. It should have been a lot more. These companies are just ripping off people, and it's so unfair. And he happened to mention where it was. It was in West Indies somewhere. And she wanted to know where it was. And he says, you know what? Just don't even worry about it. Take the money. Go on a trip somewhere that you've always wanted to go. Just go ahead and do that. But it's really unfair what they're doing. So she's sitting there, this older woman, looks like probably in her 60s or 70s. And she wants to know where the company is because she's taking their money and she's going to find out what happened. So she's trying to contact the company. She's still trying to contact them. She can't get anything. So she goes over to Panama and she's looking for the guy that manages this company, manages this fund, because she wants someone to be accountable for her husband. So she's looking up the addresses, walking down the street. So she comes to the building, and the guy comes outside, and she asked, where was the building? Well, this is it. And she said, well, do you know this gentleman? And the gentleman was him. But he said, no, he did not know him. Now, he's a super shady character, super shady. So he goes home to talk to his wife and his family. And then the next thing you know, he's catching a flight coming back over to the States. And he's with his wife and family there. So he has 2 wives and 2 families. And then the investigators or the FBI's or whatever, they approach him right there in the airport. And when they asked him, was he whoever his name was? And he said, he just passed out. He just fainted right there on us. He fainted right there on the floor. Okay, so then you go over to this other guy, and he has this really nice home, and his daughter's in college. She's driving a $100,000 vehicle, and he's married. And you go to his house, and come to find out, he's the owner of one of these companies also. Actually, he's the owner of the company that insured that boat. And so then he's sleeping with his daughter's roommate. And his daughter didn't know that. So she finds out, and she's super pissed. She is pissed. So she's going to tell the mom. He doesn't want her to tell the mom. So he makes a deal with her that he would give her a company that's worth $20 million. And so then she gets an attorney, to try to figure out, what is going on here. But anyway, the company is transferred over to her. And yeah. So she tries to cash in on the company. But the father is taking the money out of the company. Even the mom tries to cash in. And he's taking the money from both of those companies. And then everything is starting to crumble and fall and break up. And tell me what you think. Take a look at it and tell me, what do you think about this? Because everything is falling apart, because there's a whistleblower that has gotten into the company, and the whistleblower is feeding all this information to the FBI, and that's how they're taking down this company, and they're finding these people. But it has to do with the whistleblower and hiding that money and all the people that are taken down. And that's why these attorneys did not want this information. They did not want this film released. And lucky for us, Netflix won in court and they were able to release the movie. So go ahead, take a look at it and come back, leave a comment, let me know what do you think about the super rich hiding the money, and your everyday Joes like me and you. We're the ones that are suffering from these companies and the super rich. So go ahead, take a look at it if you haven't seen it already. And normally Netflix sends it to you, but for some reason they didn't send it. You know, when they drop a new movie, they send it all out to everybody, but they didn't do that on this one. I just happened to read a news feed and I researched it and pulled it up. So take a look, come back and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and bang the bell for notifications. Talk to you next time.